How's it going, everybody? Thanks so much for checking out this week's episode. We'd like to take a second to thank this week's sponsor, Punkbox. Punkbox is a monthly subscription service that delivers merchandise and music to the homes of punk music lovers each month, featuring vinyl, CDs, cassettes, shirts, buttons, stickers, and a whole lot more. Each box contains items that are directly purchased from or donated by bands and artists who are looking to reach a larger audience with their music and or products. Now, Punkbox has a bunch of different options. You could start out just getting 1 month box, all the way up to being a super supporter and sign up for a 12-month subscription. And you're gonna save yourself some money by doing that. Now head on over to punkboxrocks.com. That's PUNKBOXROX. And bring the merch table right to your door each month. Also make sure to follow them on Instagram at punkboxrocks. Once again, it's PUNKBOXROX to keep up on new items in each month's theme. Thank you so much again to Punkbox for sponsoring this week's episode.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? A podcast about life in the music industry. Today, we've got David Michael Frank. He's a musician and content creator. David, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Heck yeah. Let's just jump right into it. So you just released your debut single as a solo artist, Only One, in August. How's the response been for that so far?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, Only One's out in the world. So yeah, it's been crazy. I've been in bands for like 10 plus years, and Only One marked the first time I've ever released music under my own name, which was a nightmare and really exciting at the same time because I had built up quite an audience under my previous band name. I had a decent amount of Spotify followers. I had a huge catalog of music, and then starting from my name, which I wanted to do for a few years. I've really known it from my heart. It didn't feel disingenuous releasing as a band name anymore. It didn't feel honest. And so I did it. I went for it when I got my tour offer for Halcyon and Lauren Babick, and I had a month and a half to get my act together and release Only One. And I finished the song and I toured without having released it, just little clips on TikTok, and I performed it every night, and the crowd went hard, and I filmed every single night that we played it and put together a little music video. And when the song came out, I had generated some pre-saves and had a little buzz just from playing it live, and it charted as number 2 on the alternative charts on the same day that Panic at the Disco's album and Demi Lovato's album came out. And yeah, it was really cool. And then 38 as far as all genres of music that was out at the time. So it was a great independent release. And I'm doing a lot of cool other things, sort of reboot it and rebrand it, and doing an open verse challenge, and I'm going to do an acoustic version. But as far as the first release, it was really nerve-wracking to be myself as an artist. And I think it was a decent first little intro to who I am. And I can take it from there now.
It's a killer song. I've listened to it at least 5 times today before talking to you. And it's awesome though, taking that leap as a solo artist, because it's hard. It's hard going out there being just yourself. Because I started this by myself, and then we had I had a partner doing the podcast, and then he's kind of taken time off, and now it's been just me for the past 3 months, and still trying to find my way. As
I relate. I understand.
Yeah,
no, that's a really tough thing. Good kudos to you for holding strong and keeping the ship afloat as you run the ship yourself. That's tough.
Kudos to you too. Kudos
Thank
to
you.
you. Next question I have for is, do you have any upcoming plans for your solo EP or an album you could talk about?
Sure. Yeah, the industry is in sort of a weird place right now. I grew up with albums. I listen to albums start to back. I don't even know song names because I just know albums. But I know that I need to play the game as far as like the marketing side goes. And then at the same time, I need to keep creating content. I wish I could go like hide in the mountains and go like record an album without any like buddy involving themselves. But in reality, I would like my fans or supporters would forget who I am, or they would watch videos of cats instead. Or, I guess I'm already competing with those anyways, but,
cat videos are so good to watch though.
Exactly. So yeah, I think you can expect a series of singles leading up to an album. I would love to do an album that I love the community of, like, for example, my Patreon. Like, I'll do a thing once I have like most of the album already released. I'll do a thing where I can get everybody's name on the actual like print of the album, which will be really cool. And yeah, so the goal would be an album, but I'm going to do singles. And then I'm also going to do the follow up to Only One, where I'm doing an open verse challenge. And the winner of that, which this is sort of crazy, but the winner of that is going to come out to Nashville and record their verse on that song. And then we're going to release, we'll do a music video together and we'll release that, and as well as an acoustic version. So that'll be really exciting.
That sounds all exciting. So have you listened through some of the submissions and stuff for the Open First Challenge? Do you have any forerunners already in your head?
I have some forerunners in my head, but I tried not to listen to them. People are already harassing me a little. Today's the 19th. I said the deadline is the 10th, but I do so many things. Like, I've been shipping merch all week, and like I'm like posting other random TikToks that you like. Anyways, I'm gonna get to it really quickly and watch all the videos, and I will be as unbiased as I can to choose my favorite one. And I've done a few like contests on TikTok. That's sort of why I like went for it with the song. I did like a challenge for Heart Attack. There's a high note in Demi Lovato Heart Attack. I did that, and I had like 3,000 submissions or something like that. Wow. Of singers that were like, and I turned it into a little bit of like a game show, and I like went through and I judged them all, and I chose my top 10, and then I did it again with My Heart Will Go On, which was I did viral, and then I did a little contest with that. So by doing it with my own song, it's a little scary to do, and I'm like giving up real estate of my song, and it's now our song with me and someone else. Yeah. But I love that. I love the idea of like, there's so much talent out there, and like you're invited to like try out to be a part of the song and like write a new perspective into it, and then let's release it together. And I'll fly them out on my dime independently, which is crazy. And we're gonna shoot a music video and release it, and it's gonna be like a new life to the song. So I'm really excited about it.
That's amazing. So let's start at the beginning of your musical journey. When you're 11, your dad got you your first guitar. What made you want to be a musician?
Well, okay, so I think that like, definitely seeing it and hearing how music affected and was important in my dad's life was, of course, really inspiring. But I was falling in love with music myself and sort of seeing that connection that it can have. And I saw some like really cool concerts. And when it came down to it, I remember it was like Hanukkah, and my parents were like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Dad, I want a Fender Stratocaster." I had seen like an Eric Clapton concert. And he like told my mom, or I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, Dad's gonna get me a Fender Stratocaster," and she was like, "No, he's not." And so from there, it actually happened. I got that guitar, and that sort of opened up this crazy world of learning music. Also, luckily, there was a kid in my class in elementary school and junior high. His dad was in a band called Heart. They have Barracuda and Crazy on You and Magic Man. He wrote all those songs. And so he became my guitar teacher. So from like a really young age, I had like this instilled music theory of like, you need to play it right. You can't like learn studio tricks. You need to like be good. And they were recording on tape when they came up. So like he was instilling all of that on me. And so I learned like guitar and basic recording. I started with a 4-track cassette recorder, and then I got a thing with a little CD burner. And I was in bands in high school, junior high, and we were on MySpace, and we were like playing shows. And I grew up in Seattle, which was like a really cool music scene, and they had all youth venues that like we were like 12, 13, 14 and band practice and then playing shows and trying to get our friends to come out to the shows. And like we were playing shows with older kids, 16, 17 years old, that were like killing it, incredible, and really inspiring to me as a young musician and artist. So we were just like learning sort of on the early days of like the grind and MySpace promotion and getting your friends out to shows. And I remember we made like $800 at like our CD release show in high school and like 16 years old, and started to realize there's some business here and some potential. And then I went to college and I studied vocal performance and music business, and business. And my school was a very like sports school, so they're speaking about like sports teams and business. And I was imagining the music business. And meanwhile, I was watching early days of YouTube, seeing people who are, a lot of them are my friends, but seeing a lot of musicians, Alex Scoot and Tyler Ward, Kurt Schneider on YouTube, killing it, playing all the instruments, doing cool videos. And I was like, I can do that. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And so I like started making really crappy videos, and I like play all the instruments in like my pajamas, and I was like getting drunk and like making like, there's some outros on my channel that are so cringy. But I was doing my best. And I was pushing myself. I remember Adele came out with a song. I was going to cover it, and something in my like ego of being the beginning singer wouldn't let myself transpose it lower. So I'm like trying to sing Adele at her range when I sucked at singing. And so I was just in making music from such a young age. And by the time I released my first like professional release, which was 2012, I had actually 2011. I was brought into LA and put into a boy band. We won't count that. That was a nightmare. I learned all the dark sides of the industry.
That's my next question.
Yeah. Are you all right? Well, yeah. So that's my early days of being inspired. But the boy band days, jeez.
Yeah. So speaking of that, though, so you've performed with multiple groups. Starting with Wellington.
Oh my God! Did I give you this information? Or did you get this?
No, man. I look things up. This is what I do. This is my job.
Wow.
So you were with Wellington, King the Kid, and then Future Sunsets. Can you tell us about what it was like being a young musician, dealing with some of the fame and stuff that you guys went through, and the challenges you faced in those early years?
Oh my gosh! You brought up Wellington. I was making my little covers, my little videos on YouTube, and I was brought out to Los Angeles, and I auditioned for a band that was being put together, and they were looking for a singer, and there were 4 managers. That's already a red flag. 2 of the managers were older, and they had like, oh God, they had so many awards and Emmys. There's a lot of television awards, very, very powerful people. I like can't even be specific, but like, I'm probably not gonna get sued. But one of the people was like the manager of Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and Jackson 5 and the Commodores and all these just huge artists. And so when it came down to like maybe signing a deal or not with them, my lawyer told me it was a bad deal, but they're also like, look, if they're gonna take like this huge percentage of your income, but they're gonna make you a household name, they're gonna like put you on TV, you got like
you got weighing your options there.
So I like signed the worst deal you could ever sign when I was like fresh to LA, and I moved out, and turns out they were lying to us, and it just went down a very, very ugly dark side. My 4 managers started fighting. They weren't able to be in the room together. They tried to get us to throw them under the bus, but we ended up trying to fire them. But our deal was so bad that we had a disagreement about whether they could fire us or not. So then they started sending cease and desist letters and pulling our videos down. And they tried to extort a lot of money out of us and our families, telling us we'll never work in the industry again. So it was like a really, really stressful and ugly thing that I got to experience before I became independent. And that I toured in a tour bus. I got some of the really exciting, like, things that you get when other people are working on a team and making stuff happen, making connections happen. So then out of the hopeful ashes, of what seemed like the ashes of that band, but those old managers kept screwing with us, we started a new band called King the Kid, and it was independent. It was just 3 of us, and we were doing great. We were killing it. We learned how to make YouTube videos and how to work cameras and how to do our graphic design, how to run our own merch store. And I was writing all the songs, and I was really learning a lot as a producer. I've been producing for years, but now I was actually producing like records that were going to come out that were ours. I was a nerd about mixing and mastering and all of the audio engineering. We had the drums in the biggest room of the house, and we were living and breathing music. We didn't pay ourselves. We lived out of the band's bank account, and the band paid for our rent, and the band paid for our food. We would go out and the band would pay for it. But if somebody got guacamole on their Chipotle, it was a little bit like, all right, well, he gets like something this next time, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were living for the band, and we were doing really well. We won Hot Topics first Battle of the Bands that had a ton of bands submitted. And the day before our Europe tour, the drummer screwed the other guys, screwed us over, changed all the passwords to our social media, and tried to hold it hostage for a lot of money. And we found ourselves in a very tricky situation. There was a lot of like stuff we could have done legally, but there was a lot of like threats that were going around that were like mafioso threats. And it was really, really a scary thing. So we had to leave behind the band or pay this horrible ransom. But we decided to move on as Future Sunsets and have that represent sort of pursuing sort of those next like bright times. And during King the Kid, that was sort of my awakening to the impact that music can have on people. So that first record that we put out, I started to see lyrics that I wrote tattooed on people and hear stories about how my music had affected them and taken them out of dark places, and really sort of changed their own life trajectory about who they are and what they wanted to be and do, and feel a little bit less alone in the world. And that inspired me and my music, and that feeling that I felt as far as how music helped me, and now seeing my music affect other people, that is what I, to this day, am still so addicted to chasing, and trying to make that kind of impact and change with my music, with my content, with even a stupid video. If you can put a smile on someone's face, like it could make a huge, huge change for someone. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And I know you see that even with podcasting and everything that you do, like when you make a connection with someone, and we're also numb to views and numbers. You see all these people getting millions of hits and then you get jealous, but like, if you can understand that every view is a person, real person, like like that impact on that one person makes it totally all worth it. And so I try to maintain that every single person, every single viewer or listener matters, and that impact can be incredible. So I try my best to not get caught up in the numbers game. And so we fought on now as 2 people, after being like literally robbed. We owned an RV, we had a trailer, all of it just stolen. And all these songs that I wrote and that meant so much to me, that were written about my life and tattoos on people, whatever, that I felt like I couldn't play because they were under another band name. I should have Taylor Swifted it and recorded them all over, but I didn't know.
Version.
Exactly. It was like, we should have done that. Like in retrospect, like that would have been the move. So we held on to Future Sunsets for many years, just trying to still make that impact and trying to grow and like covering whatever just came out. It doesn't matter if Katy Perry came out with a song, 9 p.m. we're like recording it. It just came out. And that game is so tiring. And so just continued on, and that's sort of taking back my name, or being my name for the first time with only one, was like very heartwarming and like overwhelmingly emotional for me to like put out a song under my name. Like to see that was crazy. I've uploaded 200 songs and I've never had my name tied to anything. So it's been really, really cool, and I'm really excited for everything that's to come, and everything that I've done so far as as myself. And I'm just going to maintain that building connection with people and making them feel, a little less alone in the world.
I love that. And honestly, and that's such a like strong message as well. With, because there's so many like bands that are out there that will get discouraged. They'll play a show and there's 15, 20 kids there, and they're like, well, no one cared to see us. Well, those 20 people did. So give them a show, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to find for a live show to find that will to put on the same exact live show to 20 people as you would to 200 people or to 2,000 people. But those 20 people all came to see you, and if you give them a good show, they'll see you the next time and the next time. If you work on building a fan base and realizing that numbers aren't always important. Now, they are very important, but that's how you grow your numbers.
Yeah, and if you can actually personally connect with those people, stick around the show, respond to the comments, all the things that you can do, do it, make those connections. Genuinely, you're gonna be better off for it, and not from like a using of them, but from like understanding an audience and making connections. I've made so many friends that maybe were fans through my music, that are lifelong friends that are all over the world from music, and I've seen my listeners become best friends, which is really cool. Right. So there's just like it's just really powerful music in general. That's why we're all so addicted to it. That's why we're doing a podcast about music. That's why we are obsessed with creating things out of nothing and listening to them, absorbing them, and feeling something. So yeah, but yeah, if it's 20 people at your show, if it's 5 views on your YouTube video, it's really scary and hard to like continue on. And I know creators at all levels that feel this. It sucks. It's really hard, that whole like dopamine thing. Like, and TikTok just plays with it. Just the lottery of like, I'm hot right now. No one gives a shit. No one cares.
Oh, my last video had 20,000 streams on it. That's amazing. What, this one has 200 streams?
Oh my God. I think they're like lotterying our brain. They know. They're like, give them a little so that they keep come back. Like, oh,
if you let them go semi-viral once, they'll never stop.
It's horrible.
Speaking of viral and the numbers game, with over 2 million followers on social media and spanning over a decade, what have been some of the most difficult obstacles you've faced while staying current with trends as the industry changes?
I've been really, if I can like pat myself on the back, I've been really good at shifting focus when I needed to, as far as like how to stay afloat as an artist in changing times. And I have seen a lot of my peers not do that and follow old patterns. And I will tell them, like, you stop iTunes. No one cares. Like, you need to change what you're doing. Like, as a friend, like, please just look what's going big. So, I think I've been sort of on it. Clearly I wish I like learned different skills a little bit earlier, photo and video. But as far as like, it's just been hard. But I think one of the things that's been really great was when I launched a Patreon in 2015, and that
the early of the game.
Yeah, and Patreon has given some salary to creating art, but even better way to think about it is if I put out a song or I put out a video and I distribute it to the world, Spotify tells me that the value of my art, the value of the song that I spent so much time writing and recording and re-recording and mixing and mastering and paying people and collaborating, Spotify tells me that the value of that is 0.003 or 4 cents. And so like, it's confusing. I'm being told I have no value. And so for the first time, Patreon is saying, no, actually your art, your content creation, like life has value. And not only the end product, the building the product, like
the whole product,
the making it, literally the songwriting. I share with them like unfinished demos and lyrics and like inside stuff about my life that's like rough, and like they're there to support that like process. So
Right.
Patreon like monetize that in a really beautiful, powerful way for me, and for them, as far as like what they get back and sort of the community element of it. And then within the community, they're all making friends and connections, and it's like a really beautiful community that like if I didn't have my Patreon, I would have had a job by now. And it's still like the backbone to everything that I do. And I have a pretty broad portfolio of like income streams as like an artist. And there's your Spotify. I do my own merch. I've literally been like shipping merch like for hours and hours this week.
Mhm.
And Patreon's been great, and now you start to see sponsorships here and there, and there's sort of like all of these different streams that you just have to have properly set up. Facebook Reels is now starting to pay. TikTok doesn't pay much, but there's just little things here and there that you start to like build your business to sort of level up.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, Patreon, like we have our own Patreon. We're still definitely growing it, but that's like one of the great things about Patreon is that that's the like behind the scenes. We'll give you stuff early, we'll give you all these things, but it's like, do you want to see how we make it? Like you can see me in my Zubas. Well, I don't care. Here's, let's just be real back here. It's your help, like that's the point of Patreon, is like to support the entire creative process and not just the final product.
Yeah, it's been life changing. It's been great, and I need to update mine. It still has my old band name on it, but they understand. I'm doing a million things. I got to do that open verse challenge.
You're a little busy right now. You're a little
busy.
So as we talked about supporting people and things like that, so you're not only a musician and a creator, but you also work with other creators and help them on their own journeys. So aside from being a musician, what aspects of the industry do you enjoy working in the most, and why?
That's a cool question.
Thanks.
I've been an artist in the trenches, and so in that you learn a lot of skills. When I was living in Los Angeles, I was deprioritizing my own music to make a buck that day so I could pay rent, and so one of the sort of coolest things that I was doing was sort of a one-stop shop of everything. So if you're a singer-songwriter and you don't have a fan base, it would be like I would bring people into my studio. We would record like a cover or a few covers and an original, and we would shoot. I would do all of that. I would do all the music production and all the coaching and all of the vocal stuff that they need, and instruct them. And I'd shoot the music video, and I would help them have like a really professional music video, as far as professional as I can do, which is like decent. And I would help them with the graphic design of the album stuff. And then I, over the years, have learned how to do Facebook and Instagram ads pretty well to reach new people. So I would then help them spend their money to reach new people of similar artists. So if they sound like Maren Morris or whoever they sound like, I can like then push them out. And even cooler than that, I have a fan base, and I only was working with people that I really liked, and so or like believed in. And so I would bring them in as well at the same time as all of the releases, and do a cover on my channel and be like, look, everyone, this is this new person. Go check them out. Check out their new original single that I produced and the music video that I just shot, as well as the other cover that's on their channel that we collaborated on. And I would do this huge package that would just sort of like give like a starting artist like everything they needed to do to like get started. And I love that from like the artist development like side. It's like easier to do for someone else than it like is for me. And I love that. And I've always really loved, even like through college, I've loved working with young talent. When I was in college, I was producing like these like 15-year-old kids that were so good. I like try not to name names because like a lot of them like got huge record deals and played crazy shows, and like then I've seen some of them like get screwed over from their labels, and like I like see the whole journey. But like I found these like youthful talent, and like did that at a younger age as well. Before I had like a fan base, but I was still producing and doing the videos and doing everything for them and accompanying them live. So I love that. I'm excited for my 1-year-old baby to be like a little older so I can like help him. If he wants, he can do what the hell he wants. But he's gonna have a drum set and guitars. He's gonna have everything. There's like a stage behind me. He's gonna be doing music videos on Friday. No, I'm just kidding. But whatever he wants to do, he's gonna perform for mom and we're gonna cheer him on. No, but like whatever he wants to do. But like I'm excited for helping him out if he wants to do music. And then I just moved to Nashville, so like other talent, like I'm all about it.
It's wild that like almost every time you are done with your answer, you are almost always directly leading into my next question. My next question for you is, how has life and career changed since getting married, having a kid, and moving?
Really cool. It's been awesome. My wife, she does YouTube. You can look her up, Jacqueline Glenn. She's been doing that since the same amount of time I have, and our stories are interesting, where we both got to LA around the same time and knew a lot of the same people, and we didn't ever connect until much later on. When we started dating, we were able to do a lot of collaboration. She's a naturally ridiculous, incredible singer because her dad's a musician and is still playing crazy shows. He's playing Luke Bryan's birthday party this week. Like they play the Super Bowl every year. They play the NFL draft. They play the baby has gone to baby's first show was Bridgestone Arena downtown Nashville, and it was like the Olympic skaters were like announcing which Olympians. He plays the craziest shows all the time. Johnny Depp and like just Alice Cooper, and it's so nuts, the grandpa shows. He was on stage with Keith Urban when Jacqueline's water broke. Anyways, so she does music a little, but she does talking and social commentary.
Sure.
And so there's like an easy overlap as far as like content creation goes. And we started a podcast, and then LA was a grind, and we were dating, and then we eventually got married. And when you get married, it's a big change as far as like, instead of me having to think about like my rent and like whatever, now it's like, hey, we're two people and we can like work together to like hit our bottom line of like, hey, we can like not kill ourselves recording like crappy covers for other people this month. Like we can focus on whatever we want to focus on. Mm-hmm. So like it wasn't until I got married that I really realized like, oh, I have a team. Like I said I'm alone, but like really my wife and I, that's it. Yeah. And so now I'm able to like focus on the things I want to focus on because we're a team on that. And so keep pursuing music and all of that. And then, she's getting more and more pregnant, and we moved to Nashville, and it's time to have a baby. And that change, I didn't know what to expect. You hear like, oh, your life's never going to be the same and all of that. And it's true. But somehow we got lucky. The baby's just like great. I can like put him in the vocal booth and he'll just like hang out, and I can like see him and put Elmo on for him. And it's like, it works out perfectly. Now he's like not walking, but he's like moving around. He's a little more problematic in the studio.
It'll get worse.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it will.
It gets different. I've got 2 kids.
How old?
13 and almost 9 now.
Okay. So they're like people. I still have like a little bit of like a potato that can like crawl around the house.
No,
but like he's like,
I did the potato too. I had a potato. I had multiple potatoes.
Yeah.
But I feel you, man. It's great. It's just different, and the one of the things that I always try to tell like newer like parents is that you don't have to give up on yourself. You just change.
Yeah.
You just change it up. Just change it up a little bit.
Yeah. And going on tour, that was my first time away from like either of them in quite a long time. Mm-hmm. So I did the tour. We got COVID at the beginning of the tour, and we had to cancel Houston, Nashville, and Atlanta. Atlanta was sold out, and then we quarantined in the basement here. I had to call my wife and be like, hey, can the whole band and crew like stay at our house? She's like, no, you have COVID? I was like, yeah, can we like stay in the basement? But she ended up agreeing and feeding us and just dropping food down the stairs for us. And we did our quarantine, and then we continued on the tour. And at the end of the tour, they flew out to the last show, my wife and baby, and I got to bring the baby out on stage and do the Lion King, like, Sevigna. And the baby's just like wearing like soundproof little like earmuffs with like a little bear on them. And like just smiling, and the crowd just like cheering, and it's crazy. So yeah, it's been like really cool being a dad and like being a musician. And Jacqueline grew up, going to shows of her dads with like Faith Hill and Sheryl Crow, or just Shania Twain, like craziness of like being a kid. And so like, yeah, it's really exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah, having a kid, being married, I love being married. I think it's great. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy everything's awesome for you over there. That's
Thank
great.
you.
We got 2 more questions before we move on. So this one's from our Discord. It's from our member, I think it's Vala, one of the 2. I think that's the only 2 it can be. We did touch on a little bit of this, but if you want to get a little deeper into it, what kind of professional training do you have, and how long have you been receiving that training for?
Cool. I just want to say though, like your questions, your research, you've been on it. I really appreciate that. Like,
thank you.
I did a lot of podcasts recently as far as like promotion around the new single, and I would have people like just like not even know who they're talking to. I'm like, I'm on your like my name, the name of the song. Like, anyways, thank you. You took it to another level, so I really appreciate that. But as far as my training goes, I started on guitar and learned from Roger Fisher from Heart on guitar in high school, and then I never sang. I sang a little bit in the background, but I didn't have the confidence. I was always the lead guitar player. And then towards the end of high school, I started doing like basic voice training, like little theater kind of like stuff. And then in college, I studied vocal performance. So that was like my introduction. And I would like have to hire like an accompanist to play piano, and I would like sing Italian tenor, and they would be like, and I would have to sound as pure as I could. And they'd be like, you sound a little rock. And I was like, I'm trying not to. But I learned a lot about like tone and just sort of the coordination of all the muscles that are going on here. And I had a bunch of books, and I worked with a few different people. I struggled. I hit a wall with my singing where I couldn't learn anymore from women. And I don't mean like I was struggling as far as like a tenor and my top of my range. And like girls would explain it to me and I didn't get it. And I felt like they didn't understand like a male. I don't know, but I felt different. So then I had to like find a male teacher that could like belt, that could like sing better and higher than me, that could like teach me what the hell was going on. How come I can't sing the way I want to? And so I found a guy in LA. It was really expensive. And I did a bunch of voice lessons with him, and he was really good. And then I sort of like, I got the hang of some of those techniques. And he had worked with a bunch of great singers, and then just being in a band and like working on it, constantly struggling on tour, constantly losing my voice, like realizing I have like a slightly higher range, but I just couldn't control it and keep it, and the techniques I was struggling with.
Sure.
And then TikTok happened after years of doing covers and all of that, and TikTok happened. And you start to post videos, and like, oh, like singing something difficult goes more viral. Singing something high and belting it goes more viral. And so I discovered that in like 2020. And then since then, like all of the years of training, that was all like getting me started. Like I understand good technique, but now I was like, all right, I'm taking this upon myself now to push myself every video. And so from 2020 on, every single video was like 100% of my like the fucking needle is spiked. Like how much can I sing? Like that's it. That's just the chorus. Like every single video I've done since 2020. So now that's like whatever 2-3 years of like really pushing myself and training like an athlete would train instead of like somebody who sings. So I do like a few hours of vocal training every day, and then I record something that's like nuts. And it's only gotten better. I've had some voice problems in that, and I try to like work through it and be smart about it. I've had to I've gone to ENTs, and like I have like maintained like as good a vocal health as I can. Little shit like not eating well and like drinking too much, like that kind of stuff. You know, it does affect you. And so you gotta watch some of that stuff. But I do my best. And so yeah, I was learning from other people for a while, but as soon as TikTok happened, I've been self-taught and just pushing it. And now I'm in a level of singing that I'm really excited about, that I feel like I can do a lot of the things that, like, you know, the 80s hair metal singers that like I heard and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And like now, like I can do the hair metal things. I'm like, hell yeah, like, oh man. And I would see like Jacqueline's dad play shows with like Skid Row singer Sebastian Bach. I saw him play a show with Sebastian Bach like 2 years ago, and I was like, oh my god, I need to learn how to do that. It was so cool. And now I can like sing like I remember yesterday. So like I'm like just learning the songs I love, that like being a young guitar player, you learn Jimi Hendrix, you're like, fuck yeah, I want to play this. Now I'm like, all right, I want to sing this. This is like the hardest Whitney Houston song ever. I'm so excited to like practice this for like 2 weeks and then shoot a live video of it. And so yeah, I'm just like in love with the instrument, which is really fun.
I love that. So yeah, because at the very end, you know, I was thinking about like reading or like writing the entire question out, but just so you know, Vala thinks you are unreal. That was the very end. You are unreal.
I mean, that means a lot. I'm very real. I have all of the limitations of the world, but you start to learn some tricks of placement and how your muscles work, and then eventually it's just sort of like you sort of unlock different parts of it, and it's all muscle control. And now I have to go to a chiropractor because I like get locked up. It's like a nightmare. But yeah, I appreciate that. I'm very real, and I'm just doing my best.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And they all think so. So we have one quick question, then we're going to go to a quick break for our sponsor. If you could give our listeners a piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting out, what would that be?
That's tough. You know, I think that I think I learned a lot of it, you know, through the path. I mean, clearly my brain wants to go two places. One, like, be careful of your partners. I got screwed over a lot of times. You know, be really, really read any deals and any agreements that you have and really understand your own value and where you could be and what a contract like that would do. Sure. That's like one answer. Great. But the other is like really be self-reliant. And I think that you know, you're figuring out the podcast on your own right now. And I think that's like exactly what I'm saying. Like, you need to be able, if you want to be an artist, you want to be a guitar player, you want to be a singer, you want to be a drummer, you need to figure out how to get an end product out into the world, doing as much of everything as you can without relying on anyone else. If you can do that, then you can work with other people and you can collaborate. But you never know who's going to stick around. You never know when you're going to have problems with whatever kind of issues you're going to have. So if you can be self-sufficient, you can build that career that you want and work with the people that you want. And you've always got yourself as your own safety net.
Perfectly said. Those are two excellent points. One of my favorite things is we ask this question specifically is the last question right before obscure questions every single time, and I love it because everybody has a different answer and every answer is perfect and valid. Like, we are like 60 some episodes in and there's been a different answer every single time.
All right,
it's fantastic.
I'm nervous.
You don't have to be nervous. No, I'm just saying the answer you just gave that every
I thought you were about to ask me another question.
No. No, the question we just asked, your answer is perfect. And it's
thanks.
Great because there's so many different aspects into this whole industry. And there's so many different tips. There's so many different tricks to do it. I mean, everybody finds their own journey and their own path. And it's great to be able to give all of this knowledge to our listeners. So With that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back for our next segment.
We'd like to take a quick second to thank Batshit Crazy Apparel for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Batshit Crazy is a horror-themed apparel brand for people with a bit of the darker side. Now, one of their shirts that really stood out to me was their horror-themed take on Van Halen's 1984 album cover, because that's what dreams are made of. Give them a follow on Instagram at Batshit Crazy Apparel. And you know what? Shoot them a DM. Maybe they'll send you some free stickers. Head on over to www.batshitcrazyapparel.com today and pick something up for yourself. Or that special crazy horror lover in your life. Thank you again so much to Batshit Crazy Apparel for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Now let's get on back into it.
And we're back with David Michael Frank. It's been fantastic so far. We've learned a lot, but now we're going to go into the obscure questions segment. Typically, I write these all on the same day as the podcast, so I have to like force myself to think of weird things. And usually they're really not that weird. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're just like, okay, it's basically just not music related.
All right. I'm excited.
So we'll start out with, if you were stuck on a deserted island and you had to bring one content creator with you, who would you choose and why?
Well, I mean, I can I choose my wife?
You can, but I mean, like,
actually, wait, hold up. No, I don't want. No, I'm just kidding. I was
gonna say, I mean, like, you know, you could like maybe want somebody that's like, you know, rugged, outdoorsy, is gonna like knows already how to build shit for you.
That guy that just like breaks wood, like the guy that just chops. I want him. No, I would choose my wife for sure.
See, that's fair. When I was coming up with this, I didn't know at the time your wife was a content creator, or else I would have put some stipulations.
That's true. Yeah, she's good. She's a genius. She can give like 30-minute like YouTube videos, like talking to the camera about like really difficult topics to like not get canceled about, and to like be insensitive, or like you got to be careful about any sensitivities. And she is on it. She can just like craft perfect argument, and she like doesn't even like stutter about her words. Like she's crazy.
That's impressive. That's like, I can hardly talk without stuttering and fumbling over my words. So
she'll know to like not like she's so good at arguing that she'll know to not say something that somebody can bat down, and like just by basic arguing like principles, which is annoying because I have to argue with her. But she's great at
that. My wife would be the first to say that I'm probably not good at arguing. And I would probably agree, because I usually don't win, and that's fine. I'm probably wrong. I mean,
it's a skill. It's definitely a skill.
Okay, so this one kind of has some options here. If you had to get rid of one of these three things for the rest of your life, like gone forever, which one would you choose? Chocolate, alcohol, or any watchable content? So like there's no TV, YouTube, movies. That's all gone. You don't got it no more.
It's easy. It's easy. Chocolate. Hello, alcohol.
I was trying to think. I was like, when I was coming up with this, I was like, what would the three most common type things that people like do enjoy, but also that could be something that you could just get rid of easily.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know you were missing chocolate, if it was just deleted, you know, it's fine.
You'd
know.
You're choosing right here now. It's gone forever.
Yeah, no, I'd still. I got into like bourbon since moving to Tennessee. I joined like a Facebook group of a bunch of like guys just talking about different bourbons. So now I like get these notifications, and I get like FOMO about like stupid bourbons. I can't taste the difference, but it doesn't matter because like they're hard to get. So like now I'm like collecting bourbons, which is fun. And I'm learning. I'm learning.
You sound like my friend Sam.
It's fun.
He likes if he listens to this, I'm pretty sure he's a fan of whiskey. He likes a good whiskey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, like, it all just tastes like burning.
And some burn more, and some are. And there's like a hint of like vanilla, maybe, and like just wood, like some oak, and you're like, God, I think there's oak in here. Yeah.
Nice. See, I've got this. There was this. Have you seen that like moonshine brand stuff? Like they make.
Yeah.
Like.
Blanking on the name, but yeah, we get that all the time.
Yeah, I got the cherries. And,
oh, those are great.
Yeah, so I also bought it's like the Sam's Choice like sparkling waters, and I got like the cherry limeade one. And so I have a cherry limeade and a bunch of cherries in here.
Those cherries are really good.
They are, but they also taste like burning.
Yeah, they're Everclear. Well, I think it's just it's moonshine, but like that's like a similar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now, last question. This one's not like super hard. It's just pretty basic. What would you say is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh God, biggest pet peeve. Oh God, that one. That's a tough question.
I have a new. I'll let you think on it, and I'll tell you my funny new one while you're thinking.
All right, yeah.
This just happened to me when I was going through submissions and stuff for our playlist. A pet peeve right now is I was telling my friend New Yorkers. Now I say this because there's so many people that say like, well, I'm from the Bronx, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Long Island, I'm from you're from New York City is where you're from. You live in New York City. You know, like you don't see like people from like I'm gonna use Minneapolis because that's like Minnesota's like you don't see people saying like, yeah, we're from Roseville, Minnesota, we're from St. Louis Park, Minnesota. No, you're from Minneapolis. They all say you're from Minneapolis.
I like that.
I've noticed that so many people from New York will just say like Bronx, New York. No, you're from New York City. Stop it. You're making it harder for me.
I agree with that. I totally do. All right, I thought of mine.
Okay.
When you get an email and they write like the whole thing, and it's usually from an older person, no offense to older people, but they write the whole email in the subject line and then there's nothing in the body. And you open it and it's like, hey, can you do whatever? And that's the subject. There's nothing in the body of the email. I hate that.
I've never had that happen.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I'd rather have like, hey, something for important, and then in the body, it's just so stupid.
It's probably like one of those where you're just like, I'm not even gonna read this. No,
I'm not gonna open this. Yeah, I hate that.
That I've never even heard of. Like, I mean, I've done that, like did a copy and paste thing and accidentally copied it into the subject line, but I erased it,
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's usually like, one or two sentences of like what someone's asking you to do. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Annoying.
I can only imagine. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's it for obscure questions. It's, only 3. Now we're gonna end off with a rapid fire question segment. You're just gonna speak from the heart, shoot from the hip. They're just either or questions, basically.
All right.
There's only one. Oh, that I accidentally didn't add. There's only one where it might be a little more difficult.
Oh, man.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Mario or Luigi?
Mario.
Okay. This is the difficult one now. Can you first off remember and sing to me the jingle for Bagel Bites?
Oh, no, I can't do that one. I don't know it. I don't know maybe it's in my brain somewhere, but nothing comes to mind.
Only a few people have been able to unlock it. So you're okay. You're pretty standard right there. But half the time, there's only been a couple times where I'll sing it for you. Hopefully we'll unlock it. So do you remember Bagel Bites, a little pizza?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay. Okay, this one. So, pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime.
I don't remember it.
Oh,
I there's something about that I maybe remember, but I don't. I like watched TV as a kid. I don't have it. It's not in my brain.
Well, when you come back and you watch this episode, you get to this part right in the middle of us. There will be the commercial. Then you can watch it.
You need to have Bagel Bites sponsor this episode.
I need to get Bagel Bites to sponsor all my episodes.
That would be
Bagel
delicious.
Bites. Let's work something out.
Yeah.
We got a couple more. Gwen Stefani or Haley Williams?
Haley Williams.
Hard shell or soft shell tacos?
Hard shell.
So the last one. Sum 41 or yellow card?
Yellow card.
Nice. Both are great. I love that. I love Yellow Card's violin. That's like what really sells it for me every time.
Yeah. I was basing it off singing. For me, that I think Ryan is a better singer than Derek.
Well, yes. I mean, I would definitely agree with that too. Like Derek's like just a rock singer, you know.
True. I think he had no, maybe both of them had the surgery. I think Ryan definitely had the vocal surgery. I think they've both had problems.
I'm not sure, but it wouldn't shock me if Derek did. I mean, he just
goes for it.
He's just gunning it.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. You finished the podcast.
I did it.
You did it. Now,
thank you.
All that's left is just kind of tell everybody what you got going on, what's next, and where they can find you.
All right. Well, I'm always making new videos, so you can find me on all of the platforms: the YouTube, the TikTok, Instagram, all of it. Just David Michael Frank, which is really exciting to say because I was always in bands. So now you can just find me as David Michael Frank on all of it. And as far as like new stuff coming, there's tons of new original music coming. I'm going to be rolling it out slowly. And then eventually there will be an album, and I would like to have a little community of support hop on board for that. So hopefully you join the bandwagon by the time we announce an album.
Let's get a whole bunch of people on this. We don't want little. Let's just get it. Let's get the whole community.
I would love that.
Hell yeah. Well, that's it. Thanks guys so much for listening. Thank you, David, for being on the show and hanging out with me. And we'll see y'all next Monday.
Woo, thanks.
Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you so much to those of you who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or anywhere else you stream your podcasts. If you're in the position to help us grow and like behind the scenes access and exclusive shows, head on over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thank you all so much.